I froze mid-step across my parents' backyard. Mason stood near the picnic table, clutching a slice of chocolate cake, wearing a bright white t-shirt. Red block letters screamed across his chest, "The mistake." My entire family laughed like it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen. My sister snapped a photo, grinning. My mother sipped her wine, shaking her head with amusement. Cousins pointed and chuckled. Even my father cracked a rare smile. But Mason's face, my sweet 7-year-old's face, crumpled like paper. His brown eyes found mine across the lawn, confused and filling with tears. His small voice cut through the laughter, "Mom, am I a mistake?" Everything inside me shattered. My hands trembled as I crossed the lawn, pulled off my jacket, and wrapped it around his shoulders. The laughter continued behind me, but I didn't care anymore. I looked up at my family, my voice shaking but cold as ice. "You'll regret this." My sister rolled her eyes. My mother said, "You always take things too seriously, Frankie." I took Mason's hand and walked toward my car. Behind me, someone muttered something about overreacting. But I knew something they didn't. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. That was the day my family went too far. My name is Frankie Tate. I'm 32 years old, a single mother to the sweetest kid alive. I've been called a disappointment since the day I got pregnant at 19. My parents, Warren and Marlene Tate, worship perfection like it's a religion. They built their lives around appearances, success, and respectability. My older siblings, Cassidy and Brandon, inherited their pride and their judgment. I inherited their silence. Their sidelong glances. Their constant reminders that I wasn't good enough. For 13 years, I swallowed their insults. I let them make me the punchline at family dinners. I accepted being the charity case they tolerated because blood was blood. I told myself it was worth it so Mason could have grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. But the moment they humiliated my child, the moment they printed those words on his shirt and laughed while he tried not to cry, something inside me changed forever. They crossed a line I'd never let them uncross. They thought I'd forgive them like always. They were wrong. Every summer, the Tate family reunion was a production. Matching shirts, professionally staged photos, catered food, endless bragging about careers and accomplishments. My mother ran it like a corporate event. Everything had to be perfect, coordinated, Instagram-worthy. They even printed custom slogans each year. Last summer's shirts said, "Tate Pride, Generations of Success." The year before was Excellence Runs in the Family. This year, everyone wore white shirts with Tate Family 2024 in navy blue letters. Clean, simple, respectable. Except Mason's. His was different. Special, my sister had said when she handed it to him. She'd smiled so sweetly when she helped him put it on inside the house. I later learned my brother Brandon designed it as a prank. My mother approved it for a laugh. My father said it was just family humor. They'd all agreed it would be funny to remind me, and now my son, that he was unplanned, unwanted, the product of my teenage mistake. They made my child a punchline. And they laughed about it. Inside the house, I found my mother refilling her wine glass in the kitchen. She looked up, already defensive. "Mom, what's wrong with you?" I demanded, my voice shaking. "How could you do that to him?" She sighed like I was exhausting her. "Oh, Frankie. You're too sensitive. It was just a joke." Everyone thought it was funny. Mason didn't think it was funny. He's 7 years old. "Well," she said, swirling her wine, "maybe this is a good learning moment for him. You chose your path. Actions have consequences. He should understand that early." I stared at her in disbelief. My own mother. He's 7. His consequence is having you as a grandmother. The room went silent. My father appeared in the doorway, arms crossed. "Frankie, if you can't take a joke, maybe you should leave." So I did. I grabbed Mason's backpack, his cake, and every last shred of respect I had left for them. We walked out that door and I didn't look back. At home that night, Mason cried in his bed. He clutched his stuffed dinosaur and asked the question that broke my heart, "Why would they say I'm a mistake, Mom?" I sat beside him, brushing his hair back, fighting my own tears. Because some people mistake cruelty for humor, baby. But you're not a mistake. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. Really? Really? He fell asleep eventually, his small hand wrapped around my arm. I sat there in the dark, listening to him breathe, and made a promise I intended to keep: they'll never make you feel small again. I didn't know exactly how yet. But I knew this: I wasn't going to scream or cry or beg for an apology. I was going to be smart. Strategic. Patient. They thought I was weak. They thought I'd always be their disappointment. They were about to learn how wrong they were. I didn't text or call for weeks. My phone stayed silent. I didn't respond to the family group chat where they shared photos from the reunion. I didn't react when my sister posted a picture of Mason's shirt on social media with the caption, "Family roast gone wrong," face with tears of joy and a bunch of laughing emojis. 34 people liked it. 12 people commented about how funny it was. My family thought I was sulking, being dramatic, proving once again that I couldn't handle their sense of humor. But I wasn't sulking. I was thinking. Planning. Calculating. Because here's what they never bothered to learn about me: I'm good at my job. Really good. I run a small custom printing business, everything from t-shirts to banners to promotional materials. My family called it my cute little hobby, something to keep me busy between school drop-offs. They had no idea my client list included schools, local businesses, and nonprofits across 3 counties. They especially didn't know I'd just landed the biggest contract of my career: exclusive printing rights for the Riverside Children's Hospital fundraiser gala. That was the moment everything started coming together in my mind. My printing shop, Tate Print Designs, operated out of a small storefront downtown. Nothing fancy, but it was mine. I'd built it from nothing after Mason was born, working night shifts while he slept, learning design software from YouTube videos, hustling for every single client. The children's hospital contract was huge. $5,000 for all event materials, programs, banners, t-shirts, donor signs, stage backdrop. It was the kind of job that could expand my business, get my name out there, open bigger doors. I worked on the designs late into the night, perfecting every detail. The hospital's theme this year was "Every child is a miracle." They wanted it warm, hopeful, inspiring. I smiled as I worked. Because the more I designed, the more an idea took shape. A beautiful, perfect, poetic idea. My family loved their image. They loved being seen as pillars of the community, generous donors, respectable business owners. Well, I was about to give them exactly what they wanted: visibility. For weeks after the reunion, my mother's real estate company announced their sponsorship of the Children's Hospital Gala. Tate Realty would be a platinum sponsor, $10,000 donated, their logo on everything, a speaking opportunity at the event. My sister texted the family group chat, "So proud of Mom and Dad for supporting the kids. Tate Realty making a difference." Blue heart. I stared at my phone, then smiled. Because guess who the event's exclusive printing partner was? Guess who would be designing every banner, every sign, every piece of material with their logo on it? Me. The hospital coordinator had no idea we were related. Why would she? I used my business name, not Tate. And my family never paid enough attention to know what I actually did for work. This was going to be perfect. Better than perfect. This was going to be poetic justice. 2 days later, my mother called. Her voice was bright, fake cheerful. "Frankie, honey, we shouldn't fight. We're family. Family is everything, you know that." I kept my voice neutral. "Sure, Mom." "Good. I'm glad you understand. The hospital fundraiser is coming up, and it would mean so much if you and Mason came. We'd love to have you there. It's a chance to show family unity, you know? Unity. The word tasted like metal in my mouth. That sounds nice, I said calmly. She sounded relieved, like everything was back to normal. Wonderful. I'll send you the details. We can't wait to see you both. After we hung up, I sat staring at my computer screen. At the hospital's design files. At the words "every child is a miracle" repeated across every template. I opened a new document and got to work. Because my family wanted unity? I'd give them unity. Just not the kind they expected. Over the next 3 weeks, I worked closely with the hospital's event committee. They loved my designs. Clean, professional, heartwarming. The phrase "every child is a miracle" appeared everywhere, on banners, t-shirts, the stage backdrop, even the donation envelopes. I made sure that word, miracle, was impossible to miss. Because I wanted my family surrounded by it. I wanted them to see it everywhere they looked. I wanted them to remember what they'd called my son while standing in front of hundreds of people who knew better. The committee approved everything. My mother's company logo appeared right beneath the miracle slogan on the main sponsor banner. Tate Realty, proud supporter of miracles. The irony was almost too perfect. I printed Mason a special shirt for the event. White fabric, blue letters, the miracle. When I showed him, his eyes lit up. Is this really for me? It's really for you, baby. Can I wear it to the big party? Absolutely. I emailed the final event details to the sponsor contact list, which included my parents' business address. My father replied, "These designs look professional. We're proud of you for finally doing something meaningful with your little business." Finally. Meaningful. Little business. Every word was a reminder of how they saw me. How they'd always seen me. I printed his email and pinned it to my office wall. Motivation. The gala was 2 weeks away. Everything was coming together exactly as planned. My family had no idea what was waiting for them. They thought they were attending a charity event where they'd be celebrated as generous donors, pillars of the community. They were right about one thing, they would definitely be memorable. I made sure every single print was perfect. Every banner, every sign, every piece of material. Because this wasn't about me anymore. It was about Mason. About every child who'd ever been called a mistake. About dignity and respect and consequences. My family loved consequences. They were about to learn what real ones felt like. The night of the gala arrived. The hotel ballroom was transformed into something magical, fairy lights, elegant table settings, soft music. Families filled the space, children wearing the miracle shirts I'd printed, parents smiling, donors mingling. My designs were everywhere. The banners hung perfectly. The stage backdrop gleamed with gold letters, "Every child is a miracle." Mason wore his shirt proudly. I'd paired it with nice pants and his favorite sneakers. He looked handsome, confident, happy. When my parents arrived with my siblings, their smiles faltered for just a moment when they saw Mason's shirt. My mother's eyes narrowed. My sister whispered something to Brandon. "That's an interesting choice," my father said, his tone tight. "Not really," I replied calmly. "Just honest." My mother's smile looked painted on. "Well, shall we find our table?" They didn't realize yet. They didn't understand that every banner around them, every sign, every piece of promotional material carried that same message. That they were surrounded by the word they'd refused to use for my child. But they would. Soon enough, they would understand everything. Halfway through dinner, the hospital director took the stage. She thanked everyone for coming, for their generous donations, for supporting children who needed medical care. Then she played a video. A thank you montage showing sponsors and their contributions. My parents appeared on screen, handing over a giant ceremonial check. Behind them, the banner read, "Tate Realty, every child is a miracle, including ours." The crowd applauded. My mother's face went pale. My father's jaw tightened. Because they hadn't realized that slogan would be attached to their company name. They hadn't connected the dots between my printing business and their sponsorship. They hadn't understood that every piece of promotional material tied them to the message they'd rejected. On screen, my mother smiled and waved. In person, she looked like she wanted to disappear. My sister leaned over. Did you know about this? I sipped my water. Know about what? The video? Everyone knew. It's a donor appreciation event. The slogan, she hissed. Oh, that? That's the event theme. It's on everything. Didn't you notice? Her eyes swept the room, finally seeing what had been obvious all along. After the video, my father had a few drinks. Too many drinks. He got loud, jovial, backslapping with other donors near the bar. A local reporter approached him for a comment about their donation. The newspaper wanted a quote for their community section. My father, buzzed and careless, laughed. Well, you know, we're happy to support all children. Even the accidents. Some miracles are just happy accidents, right? The reporter's smile froze. She glanced at her phone, which was recording. My father didn't notice. He kept laughing, kept talking, completely unaware that his words were being captured. I watched from across the room. I didn't say anything. I didn't have to. By the next morning, his comment had made the local news website. The headline read, "Local businessman makes insensitive comment at Children's Hospital fundraiser." Within hours, the hospital's PR team called. They were angry, embarrassed, and ready to pull Tate Realty's sponsorship recognition. They wanted to distance themselves from the comment immediately. I simply said, maybe they should apologize to the children first. The next morning, my mother called me crying. Actually crying. Frankie, please. You have to help us fix this. The hospital is furious. Our social media is being flooded with angry comments. People are saying terrible things about our company. That's unfortunate, I said calmly. Please. We need you to explain to them that your father didn't mean it. That it was taken out of context. Was it? Silence. Mom, did he or did he not call children accidents? Did he or did he not laugh while saying some miracles are happy accidents? He was drunk. He didn't know what he was saying. Funny, I said. Did you ever fix what you did to Mason? Did you ever apologize for printing mistake on his shirt? Did you ever think about how that felt? More silence. I have to go, Mom. Good luck with your PR crisis. I hung up. My hands weren't shaking anymore. My voice wasn't trembling. I felt calm, clear, powerful. For the first time in 13 years, I wasn't their disappointment. I was the one in control. The hospital's PR team posted a statement thanking my printing company for the beautiful event materials and distancing themselves from insensitive remarks made by individual donors. Tate print designs got tagged in the post. Shared hundreds of times. My business phone started ringing with new inquiries. Meanwhile, Tate Realty's social media collapsed. Angry comments poured in. Local businesses pulled their referrals. Other charity organizations quietly removed them from donor lists. Their carefully constructed image, the one they'd spent decades building, crumbled in 72 hours. My mother called again. Then my father. Then my sister. Then Brandon. I let every call go to voicemail. Because I wasn't interested in their panic. I wasn't interested in their excuses. I was interested in running my business, taking care of my son, and watching karma work exactly as it should. The local newspaper ran a follow-up article praising the event's success and specifically mentioning my company's design work. They called it heartwarming and professionally executed. Mason saw the article. Mom, is that about your work? It is, baby. You're really good at your job. Thank you, sweetheart. He hugged me tight. That was worth more than any apology my family could ever give. A week later, Brandon showed up at my shop. He didn't knock, just walked in like he owned the place. "You're ruining the family's reputation," he said, his voice sharp with anger. I looked up from my computer. "No, you ruined it when you designed that shirt." His face flushed red. "It was a joke, Frankie." "God, you're so dramatic." "You've always been dramatic. And you've always been cruel." I guess we both stayed consistent. Mom and Dad could lose clients over this. Real clients. Important people. Then maybe they should have thought about that before humiliating a 7-year-old child. "He's fine. He doesn't even remember it." I stood up. He cried himself to sleep that night asking why his own family called him a mistake. "He remembers it, Brandon. He'll remember it for the rest of his life." Brandon stared at me like he'd never seen me before. "You've changed." "No," I said. "I just stopped letting you treat me like garbage." "There's a difference." He left without another word, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. I sat back down and got back to work. 2 weeks after the gala disaster, Mason received a package. My parents sent it directly to our house. Inside was a t-shirt. White fabric, blue letters, "Sorry." Mason held it up, confused. "Do I have to wear this?" I looked at the shirt, at the lazy attempt at an apology, at the fact that they still thought everything could be fixed with printed words. "No, baby. You don't have to wear anything you don't want to. Can I throw it away?" "You can do whatever feels right." He thought for a moment, then folded it carefully and put it in his closet. "I'll keep it. So I remember that people can be mean, but I don't have to be." My 7-year-old son had more wisdom than my entire family combined. I hugged him tight. "You're already better than they are, Mason. So much better." That night, I didn't feel angry anymore. I didn't feel hurt. I felt proud. Proud of my son, proud of my business, proud of myself for finally standing up. My father showed up at my shop the next afternoon. No warning, no phone call. He just appeared, looking older than I remembered. "Frankie, we need to talk." I didn't invite him to sit down. "About what?" "The hospital situation has gotten out of control. We've lost 3 major clients. The country club is asking questions. We need to fix our image, and we'd like to hire you as our design consultant. Help us rebrand, create new marketing materials. We'll pay you well." I stared at him. "You want to hire me?" "Yes. You're clearly talented. The hospital praised your work. You could help us recover from this. Let me make sure I understand. You want me to fix the reputation you destroyed by being cruel to your own grandson?" He shifted uncomfortably. "We made a mistake. We're trying to make amends. You can't print integrity, Dad. You can't design away cruelty. You just have to stop being cruel." He looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language. "I'm not interested in your offer. Good luck with the rebrand." I turned back to my computer, dismissing him. He stood there for another moment, then left quietly. He didn't slam the door. He just walked out, defeated. Something shifted after that conversation. I stopped waiting for my family to change. I stopped hoping they'd wake up one day and realize what they'd done. I stopped caring about their approval. I focused on my business. New clients kept coming. I hired an assistant. I upgraded my equipment. T-Print Designs was growing beyond anything I'd imagined. Mason started seeing a counselor to work through his feelings about the reunion. She said he was resilient, emotionally intelligent, kind. She said I was doing a great job. He started drawing designs for fun, bright, colorful, hopeful images. I printed every single one and hung them in our house. One night, he drew a picture of 2 people holding hands. One big, one small. Above them, he wrote, "Me and Mom, the miracle team." I framed it and put it on my office desk. For the first time in my life, I felt complete without my family's acceptance. I had everything I needed right here: my son, my business, my dignity. A year passed. A full year of silence from my family. No calls, no texts, no holiday cards. Then, in June, an invitation arrived in the mail. Cream-colored cardstock, elegant script, Tate Family Reunion 2025, fresh starts. Mason saw it first. "Are we going?" I studied the invitation. Part of me wanted to throw it away. Part of me was curious. "Do you want to go?" I asked him. He thought about it seriously. "Will they be nice this time?" "I don't know, baby. But if we go together. And if anyone's mean, we leave. Deal?" "Deal." I RSVP'd yes. Because I wasn't the same person anymore. I wasn't afraid of them. I wasn't small, apologetic, desperate for approval. I was strong. Successful. Proud. And this time I was the one designing the shirts. I contacted my mother 2 weeks before the reunion. "I'll print the family shirts this year. My treat." She sounded surprised but pleased. "Oh. That's very generous, Frankie. Thank you. What do you want them to say? Maybe something about new beginnings? Fresh starts? I have an idea. Trust me." She hesitated, then agreed. What choice did she have? No one else in the family knew how to do custom printing. I designed simple white shirts with one word in bold navy letters: respect. But I added something extra. In silver ink, barely visible unless you looked closely, I printed smaller words beneath: kindness, empathy, accountability, honesty, compassion. The values they'd forgotten. The values they needed to remember. I printed 30 shirts. One for every family member. Including me. Including Mason. The day before the reunion, I packed them carefully in boxes and loaded them into my car. This wasn't revenge anymore. This was a mirror. And I was going to make them look at themselves. The reunion was smaller this year. Quieter. No catered food, no professional photographer. Just a family gathering in my parents' backyard. I arrived with Mason, both of us wearing our respect shirts. I handed out the boxes, and everyone changed into them without much thought. During dinner, my mother studied her shirt, then mine. Her eyes caught the silver words beneath. She looked up at me sharply. "What are these?" "Values," I said calmly. "Things I think we should remember." She stared at me for a long moment. The yard went quiet. "So this is your revenge?" she whispered. I met her eyes steadily. "No, Mom. This is your reflection. If you see it as revenge, maybe that says something." She lowered her gaze. My father cleared his throat uncomfortably. Brandon studied his shirt like he'd never seen it before. For the first time in my entire life, my family was speechless. Actually speechless. Mason squeezed my hand under the table. I squeezed back. We stayed for 2 hours. Ate cake. Talked about safe topics. No one mentioned the shirts directly, but everyone kept glancing at the words. Reading them. Thinking. As we were leaving, my father stopped me by my car. "Frankie, wait." I turned. Mason climbed into his car seat, and I stood there waiting. "We were cruel," my father said quietly. "To you." "To Mason." For a long time. I didn't respond. Just listened. "We thought we were being funny. We thought you'd always forgive us because family is family. We were wrong." My mother appeared beside him. Her eyes were red. "We're sorry," she said. "Truly sorry. What we did at last year's reunion was unforgivable. You deserved better. Mason deserved better. Brandon and Cassidy joined them. One by one, they apologized. Real apologies, not excuses. Mason watched from the car window. I took a deep breath. I forgive you. But things are different now. I'm different now. You don't get to treat us like that anymore. We know, my mother whispered. We didn't hug. We didn't cry. It wasn't a movie moment. But it was real. Raw. Honest. I got in my car and drove home, feeling lighter than I had in years. A week later, Mason ran into my room holding something. Mom. Look what I made. He'd drawn another design. A t-shirt with words in his careful 7-year-old handwriting, I am loved. Below it, he'd drawn 2 stick figures holding hands. One big, one small. Can you print this for real? He asked, his eyes bright with hope. Absolutely, baby. I printed 2 shirts that afternoon. One for him, one for me. We wore them around the house for the rest of the day, dancing in the kitchen, laughing over dinner. For the first time in years, I realized revenge wasn't about watching them fall apart. It was about building something better. It was about teaching my son that dignity matters more than getting even. That strength comes from standing up, not staying down. My family printed the mistake on my son's shirt. They thought it would remind me of my place, keep me small, keep me ashamed. Instead, it woke me up. It reminded me that I was stronger than they knew. That I could build a business, protect my child, and demand respect all on my own. That was the day I stopped being their disappointment and became my own success story. And they'll never forget what happened next, because I won't let them.